Welcome to the first episode of Building Better, where we explore the challenges and solutions shaping the future of the UK construction industry. I'm your host, Charlie Luxton, and today we're diving into a critical issue, the UK skills gap, with a particular focus on plastering, specifically the essential skill of skimming. The new government has set a bold target to boost house building across the UK, but there's a significant hurdle in our way: a widening skills gap in the workforce. How achievable is this ambitious housing goal when we face a shortage of skilled tradespeople? To understand the scale of the issue, let's start by looking at the current state of the construction sector. A major concern is that 1/3 of the current workforce is over the age of 50, with many nearing retirement. This is coupled with the need for an additional 937,000 workers by 2032 to meet the growing demands of the industry. We're joined by Anthony Frayne from the Construction Industry Training Board and Sam Blacknell, Head of Skills Partnership for Saint-Gobain Interior Solutions, to discuss this issue.
The skills shortage isn't really a new thing, but has certainly been exacerbated by the 2016 decision to leave the European Union, as many employers relied upon a migrant workforce from the European Union. That has not been replaced, and there are interventions needed to get more people into skilled work in construction.
From our focus, plastering and dry lining within interior systems, it's huge. We're seeing, a shortage of hundreds and hundreds of individuals per year coming into the trade that is required to meet what is forecast going over the next 5 years. I think there's many causes from the skills back. We've obviously had a shortage of labour, if you look at Brexit and everything, but we've also seen over the last 10, 15 years a real push for university places, and I would say construction taking a back seat for what the younger generation coming in want to do when they leave school. We do quite a lot within schools, and we see that construction isn't promoted as good as it should be.
Education in Britain, at the moment, what we've got is potentially what could be perceived as an academic education system that doesn't give young people a broad understanding of wider vocational routes into employment and education and training, and that's not just for construction, it's across all sectors. There has been a change with something called the Gatsby benchmarks, where the importance of impartial careers of initial advice and guidance has to be given to students at schools. As a non-governmental department, we can't lobby, but we can advise. So again, ultimately what we do is we obviously pass this feedback into the Department for Education, and that helps sort of steer some of those discussions around policy. But what we do is we work through others, we influence other government departments, other local stakeholders, who build relationships with local authorities, careers hubs, for example, that will allow them to do that work, pass that knowledge on, and then they can come and work directly with our employers.
I don't think qualifications have helped. We've seen plastering apprenticeships move to sort of 3 years in length rather than 2. And I think, from an employer taking somebody on to have, you realise that you've got to pay their wages for 3 years rather than 2, that's had a big effect on people coming into industry as well. That is changing. Those qualifications are changing, and from this year, that'll be back to a 2-year course. So they're sort of things that were within our remit that we feel that we can support and change as a manufacturer and work closely with industry on.
CIB levy registered employers can access a range of funding. So for example, if we look really simply at an apprenticeship, so hypothetically speaking, let's say a level 2 plastering apprentice. In England, that would usually take 2 years for the duration of the apprenticeship. So what an employer can expect to get is quarterly payments each year during the duration of the apprenticeship, standard is £625, so £2,500 per year, as long as that apprentice is still in learning. When that apprentice then achieves the apprenticeship standard, the employer is also eligible for a £3,500 achievement grant. So again, realistically, you're looking there in the region of £8,500 per apprentice in grant funding, subject to the grant scheme rules of CIEB. Now, prior to that, we run something called the Interwork Grant, incentivising employers to take on young people on work experience. So what that means is if an employer takes a learner from a college or a private training provider that's funded by the ESFA, they are eligible for a £500 payment, assuming it's an eligible course and the learner has done 30 hours of work experience. If the employer then decides they want to employ the work experience learner, the employer is also entitled to an extra £1,000 grant on top of that. So potentially, if a plastering company was to take on an apprentice and do work experience, they're looking at least £10,000 in grant funding from CITB. They're subject to the grant scheme rules.
From a Saint-Gobain perspective, the skills gap has a big impact on us. Saint-Gobain are basically around construction manufacturing. So that goes into different industries as well, not just plastering and dry lining. But ultimately, we look to innovate, make new products, put them into industry, but if we haven't got people that can use those products, we've also got to try and find different ways that those can fit into a market with different people, different technologies, and that is a big ask for any manufacturer, even one the size of Saint-Gobain. We are obviously massively focused around the products that we produce and we put into the market because we want the people using them to use them correctly, but we also want them to have a long career and the longevity and through that. And really, some of the really good stuff that we get to do with colleges is show them and schools, is show them what the career can be like. So, you're talking from a plasterer, you can work for a subcontractor, you can be your own boss, but you can also link into different qualifications and become something else. You can, be a supervisor, you can go on to be a site manager and so on and so forth. So the career's massive. And we just want to show that in different ways.
You're looking at 300,000 new homes every year. At the moment, it's probably fair to say that we're struggling in terms of labour to be able to deliver that. However, where we've made a good start in that, particularly at CITB, is the house building sector skills plan is up and running. What also helps as well is we do have a government and policy relations team that are based in with DFE, as we're a non-governmental department. And again, we work very, very closely with policymakers in DFE and sort of getting that information across the ministers so that the ministers are informed, and there's a really good working relationship there, so we can feed back on industry's behalf what they need to make sure that they're able to meet those targets. Our Industry Impact Fund is also looking at dealing with the tutor and trainer shortages, but we're really keen on getting ideas from industry where we can train the next set of tutors and trainers. But ultimately, that ageing workforce has such great knowledge. They're training, they're mentoring, they just don't know they're doing it. So it's about really just making them aware of what they're doing and supporting them to do that and the great work that they do.
I think people are becoming aware of what wear and tear it can do on your body over a certain amount of time. But also from that, if people aren't seeing it advertised or it's not on social media as much as what other things are, I just don't think they're going to take it up, unless they're dad's in the trade or uncle's in the trade or someone that they know closely, just really don't know what it is. And opening up those opportunities can allow people to obviously have a go and just see if they like it or not. A big aspect of where we fall down, especially coming into sort of plastering and dry lining and as we've kind of touched on construction as a whole, is the manual labour side. So it is looking at ways that we can make it easier to do the job. And having women on board for those ideas is key. I'm having some really interesting conversations with some contractors that really want more women to come and work on their labour force, and they have tried and they have put different initiatives in place to get people in, but they're just leaving because they're still really heavy boards, they're big, they might not really fancy plastering. So it's going back to that innovation, and we do quite a lot well. We've done quite a lot of talks with women in construction, so we will go to site and when they're on training courses, speak to them about the trade, do demonstrations and show them what the possibilities are.
We have something called our Industry Impact Fund. So what the Industry Impact Fund provides is up to £500,000 of funding for an innovative idea led by industry. And again, one of the key themes we're looking at is inclusion, or EDI. So again, what we would really encourage is those employers that are good at getting females into construction, we would welcome the opportunity to discuss with them about how we could potentially provide some funding for larger scale projects that can go across industry and ultimately attract women into construction. Because if you look at it, 17% of construction's workforce is female. If you boil it down to actually the trades, it's 2%, which is clearly not good enough. So there's a piece of attraction work to do on that. But the Impact Fund is something that we could use to help fund that and sort of fund some new initiatives. I think perhaps it's the challenge of that perception, isn't it? I think there's always that, it's a bit of a cliche, but you can never make a second first impression, for want of a better term. And there's this perception, this muddy, poor pay. I suppose that's where our role comes in, and industry's role comes in, to be able to broaden that awareness, use those role models and actually show, if you look at construction, there's plenty of work to go around. And it's one of probably more if you choose that route, employment is going to be stable and well paid, which you probably can't say for many other sectors. Something that could help the skills shortage is obviously, if we think of our manufacturers, increasingly that we do see that manufacturers are delivering training. Again, as an industry training board, we're really interested to talk to you about that, particularly in light of our employer networks, to see how we can support with that. There's a wealth of knowledge out there, and rather than us doing things in silos, let's work together and support the industry to get that skilled, competent workforce now and in the future.
So we support 60 colleges nationally. We see the majority of them through the Midlands and the North, especially as sort of plaster has declined in the Southeast, but we're also working with more private training providers. So that figure is not just FE colleges, further education colleges, it is private training providers. But those 60 colleges are part of our Thistle Partnership Programme. But the Thistle Partnership Programme has been around for over 20 years. And we just look at different ways with engaging with colleges and see how we can support. And what we do is we provide free material, which is great, they all love, but we actually get in, we do presentations around Saint-Gobain and SGIS and the products that we produce and manufacture. And then we also do demonstrations. So we actually table it as sort of bronze, silver, gold. So as that partnership effect, we put things in place that we would love them to do. And the more they do, the more they kind of get out of us. So yeah, product demonstrations, student talks, materials, but then in the engagement that we do with the likes of Skill Build, regional and national competitions, we want these students to have the ability to enter. So we put that kind of at the forefront of what our partnership is about.
Thank you for that insightful overview, Anthony and Sam. It's great to hear about the challenges and opportunities young people face in the industry, as well as the great work being done by the Construction Industry Training Board. With a firm view on real-world training and putting theory into practice, let's see what some of the nation's leading training providers are doing right now. We'll head over to Leeds College of Building, which in partnership with British Gypsum offers a specific intensive SKIM course designed to offer hands-on experience for participants who already have some experience in plastering. And a little further south, we'll be talking to the team from V&D Interiors, who've recognised the importance of continuous training in the form of its new Staffordshire Training Academy.
Hi, I'm Rob Holmes. I'm Vice Principal Curriculum, Quality and Innovation here at Leeds College of Building. We are the only specialist construction and built environment college within England. We offer programmes from apprenticeships to full-time courses, adult provision and some 14 to 16 provision as well, where we work with some local schools and local academies. Our mission is really simple, so we want to provide the best further education in construction and built environment in England. And in doing that, we're ensuring that we're working with key partners within the industry across the UK to ensure we can deliver that mission.
So today we are at Leeds College of Building. They, over the last couple of years, have ran one of our site-ready skimming courses, and they're doing the same over their summer holidays. So they've got a select few individuals that have come off of their full-time provisional courses, and they're running, which is traditionally a 6-week course. They run it slightly differently. They run it over for 10 weeks over the summer for the individuals to gain the skills to go out into industry.
So in terms of the impact it has on students is huge. To have somebody like British Gypsum involved with Leeds College of Building as a kind of a key partner, it means that students that come here can see that we are working with industries, we're working with different partners where they recognise them in industry.
The collaboration, whether it's with British Gypsum or other suppliers that we use various points throughout the year, it just gives them the skills to understand the material they're working with before they get out onto the general working life, to then use these materials, you know. So going forward, if you use British Gypsum materials, you'll continue to use British Gypsum materials. You understand how they work, we know what, and to be fair, the best materials on market to be used for plastering. Obviously we work to set criteria to get them to the qualification levels, but ultimately as lecturers and as tutors, I personally believe it's on our passion to instill on others that makes them then want to go out and plaster and learn the intricacies and the detail of plastering. So Leeds College of Building gives them the grounding, it gives them the method, if you like, to go deal with the madness.
Currently I work with my mate, he's called Danny. Funnily enough, he did the same course as this, and after this course we just went into business together, and been going for about four months now. Obviously we went for it, just advertised as you do, got jobs, and then we just took all the experience we built up through college and British Gypsum and just put it into work, and we've just been completing jobs since then. If you're looking to get into the plastering industry, no matter what age, how young you are, if British Gypsum approach you with this opportunity, just grab it with both hands, because all the skills, and it's gonna help you, especially in your career. I'm shocked actually, because obviously a new business, you'd think you'd be pretty quiet, but to be honest, we've been 3-4 months now, and we've had one quiet week out of all them, so you can't knock it. It's going great, but obviously it's a credit to obviously college and British Gypsum, because where they've taught us up to be able to complete jobs to a high standard, and obviously it's giving us better recommendations and helping us get recommended for jobs.
The confidence that it's given me here, I know myself, I can look at someone else's work, well, someone else that's been doing it longer than me, and say, oh, yeah, it's the same, or might be better. So, yeah, and that's from the course, to be fair.
The constant of skimming from 8 till 8, it's been brilliant. We've done so much, and with Terry, our teacher, being so good for us, we've learnt so much, yeah. I mean, we're on week 6 now, and I'm already ready. I'm ready to go and do it now.
We talk about, obviously, reputation, customer face, everything that comes along with that part of being, you know, self-employed. So it's the softness of accounts, taxes, you know, the full build-up and make-up of what you need to be a self-employed plasterer out in industry. So it goes right along with everything we do, from health and safety to principles of construction to make-up of buildings to then understanding plaster. So it's not just skimming as a whole, it's the make-up of being a rounded plasterer that we aim to do.
I've got the confidence from this course to know that I can take what I've learned so far out and just keep improving from what I've learned. So yeah, I am set for that. This is my choice now, career, what I want to do, until my body won't let me no more.
I would love to have my own business, own company. That's why I want to do, to build a big company, like a big company, to have my scheming, to tiling. Thank you so much for the way they help us. And I would love to work more with the Gypsum company to gain more experience. I feel like sometimes I would never be without job.
Well, one of the big benefits is getting subcontractors on side and understanding what we are doing as a manufacturer, because it is supporting subcontractors and the people on the courses. So it's trying to link those dots. Subcontractors have jobs, they're working on properties and commercial projects that need completing. We are training new individuals up to a skill that they require. So it's joining them dots, coming in, having a conversation, but then it's also, you know, changing the lives of people that really want a change of career, which is being fantastic as well. We're not just aiming this at, you know, the younger generation. We're having people in their 30s and 40s coming onto these courses that really fancy getting into the industry. and creating a new life for themselves.
Hi, I'm Paul from Shropshire Training Academy. Shropshire Training Academy was set up by a company called V&D, which is our sister company. Because of the skill shortage and the need to train the operatives we have, or V&D have, it was always the plan for the directors of V&D Interiors to set up a training centre so we could train our own operatives and operatives from other companies and the surrounding areas and develop their skill sets based on the requirements and the standards of the CITB. I think there's about 12 or 14 courses that we do, ranging from 3-hour courses to 3-day courses, the likes of plastering, dry lining, metal stud partitioning, MF ceilings, service penetrations, door openings and window opening. That's what V&D's bread and butter stuff is. There's no youngsters coming through. There's non-existent. Some of the colleges stopped doing plastering apprenticeships and they've stopped doing it for many years. That obviously has a knock-on effect. That's why Shropshire Training Academy was set up, to keep the skills going.
Hi, I'm Dan and I'm a trainee at V&D Interiors. I get to learn something new each and every day, whether it's here or on site. I'm training to be a plasterer, and after the 2 years is done, I'll have my NVQ, and then I can move on to other things within the business. What haven't I learned? Everything. I've been put on loads of different courses. I've been put on my grid ceiling. I've been put on learning how to put partition walls, my suspended ceilings. I've learned how to board, how to dab, how to plaster. Yeah, I've learned loads of things, literally. And I didn't know anything before I come here. And you can only work your way up even more. That's what I am today.
My name's Annie, I'm a trainee and I work for V&D. I didn't know a thing, but my knowledge has grown massively because I didn't know anything. I could do what things were, just to know what most of it was used for. When I first started, we had done an intense 6-week training course for plastering, and not to brag, but I got the highest mark.
Hi, I'm Lewis and I'm an apprentice at V&D Interiors. Never liked school. Hated being sat in the classroom, couldn't do it. So this is way better for me. I've learned a lot. I've obviously come from not really being able to plaster to getting quite good at it. We've obviously learned how to plasterboard, all the metal work, so the studs and all that.
What's your favourite part? Favourite part?
When you get a nice finish, sense of accomplishment, I like that.
It's just got to be skimming. There's nothing else I like doing. Get the hang of it at some point and you're just like, yeah, I need to do this. This needs doing. Oh, this bit before I do this. It's just, gotta be prepped and ready.
I mean, I would have liked to have done the 6-week course. I see them working here, in the bays, and all I wanted to do is plaster with them. I can do many trades, but plastering is one that, I'll get my rocks off when I plaster a wall. It's just, when it's smooth, you make it look beautiful, especially when someone says, oh, that's really nice, that's really good. I mean, there's no better feeling, really, because you take the time and the effort. And I think pride, that's the thing that I try and teach the guys, is to have pride in their work. If they have pride in their work, that they'll always produce good work.
As we've just seen, education can be the foundation of a better career. But it's always inspiring to see how construction and the community can work together for better beyond typical training schemes, especially in terms of opening up opportunities and kick-starting careers for those who need it most. For over 2 decades, Youth Build UK has been hard at work supporting disadvantaged young people, working with employers and organisations in the UK construction sector to build stronger foundations for their futures. So let's take a look at exactly what the team does to make this a reality and see some of the successes they're already celebrating along the way.
Hi, I am Hannah O'Brien. I'm the Director of Business Development for Youth Build Ventures UK. And today we are at the Meadows Community Centre, which is one of our training sites in the south of Lewisham. We were launched in the UK in 2019 with our founding partner, Saint-Gobain. And we are here to tackle the skill shortage in the construction industry whilst also tackling youth unemployment. We focus on working with young people who we call opportunity youth, and those young people are normally labelled as NEET, not in education or employment, as marginalised, as basically focused on their issues rather than their potential. And we believe passionately in the purpose in every single young person, and we believe that their dreams matter. And we are there to support them to make those dreams come true and to change their lives in a positive way, whilst also working hand in hand with industry to provide them with the most up-to-date training and up-to-date exposure from the industry itself. So we focus on the construction skills, but we also focus on giving them the life and personal skills that they need to get into work. So it's not just about developing their skill set, it's also about developing their mindset and giving them the tools that they need to be leaders for themselves, but also for their local community. We also have bespoke industry dry lining training, which is provided to us by British Gypsum, and we also have a number of personable and life workshops and skills that we run, as well as employability skills like CV workshops, interview techniques, and again they are led by our partners in industry, so it's not just the team, the fantastic team that we have here, it's also industry leaders that come and really enrich our course.
We practice this thing that we call omnipresence. So it's always about staff being available, present, noticing, being able to take young people out for conversations, and it's conversations that are concerning them and their lived experience. So a lot of it is, as well as the leadership programming, the employability training, the construction training, a lot of it is the softer stuff as well, and it's helping to build their confidence and making them feel a lot more comfortable in a space with other young people so that they are able to sort of navigate the real world space, basically.
When I signed on this course, I was amazed that this course is even available, to be honest. It's also given me a sense of purpose, because before this, I was in and out of jobs and like just sitting around, and now I've got a daily, like somewhere to go and a team and also the wonderful staff here. When I think of the bigger picture, yeah, I'd love to know that after this course I might go into an apprenticeship and I would be helping people, because obviously there's loads of new builds and I want to be part of that. I'm a lot more like, yeah, I've done that, and most of the time if it's good work, yeah, I'm going to take accountability for it.
We went through the first week, which was mental toughness. When we got to near to the end, we actually got certificates, and personally I actually found that certificate was the only certificate that actually had meaning to me. Obviously you go to school, you get maybe a GCSE, they don't really mean a lot to you, obviously you just take them and that's it, but here they actually congratulate you and actually feel like you achieved something. So yesterday we spoke to a project manager and he was telling us how they're really in demand, in high demand, people like labourers, electricians, plumbers, wherever it is in construction, even financial management. We can see our worth and how our skills that we're going to gain from here is actually going to help.
Another huge element is our community asset build and our social action projects. So they go out and identify a project, a community asset that needs refurbishment with community leaders, and they will then design and lead that project over a 2-week period to refurbish that site. Once they've completed, presenting to that community about what they've achieved.
Yesterday I was voted as the head of youth voice for the team. I believe I was capable of doing it, definitely, but it was a surprise in a sense because there's also many other good leaders here as well, and it meant a lot because a lot of the time I can be quiet, but I feel like with what I say it holds value when I do speak, so I do feel like I have a good impact on the team as a whole. But yeah, that did surprise me majorly, and I was over the moon to be voted. That they're all great people and they all bring their own unique thing to the table. We all have our differences, opinions, but we can all come together and like feel in a safe environment and feel like we can talk to each other. There's no judgment with anyone, and like I said, it's week 2, so to have that already is just insane. I'm so glad that I'm still here and I didn't like give up. But yeah, it's going. So like I said, it's only week 2 and I feel that great already, so I can only imagine what week 12 will feel like.
It's easy to say that it's a construction program, you get your CSCS card, but I think that is quite reductive. So we call it a leadership program because a large part of it is about them. Anyone can kind of like train to get a job, but like a lot of the young people that we work with, they probably come from experiences where maybe people haven't believed in them. They've been affected by sort of social economic challenges that they haven't created themselves. So when they do come to us, there is that lack of confidence and that kind of low self-esteem. So a large part of the work is building them up and kind of understanding that they do have worth, they have agency, and they have capacity to change the world around them. So for me, I think that as a starting point, then you can kind of fill it out with construction training and employability. That stuff becomes a lot easier when they feel like they actually have something to offer society.
Anyone in any like position that is in need of help in whatever circumstance, I definitely would recommend coming here. Like the staff, so like my confidence was a bit low and it's definitely brought that out of me, and just having people around you that believe in you. Yeah, they're great people here. I know I will come out of it changed and new man. Someone that I wouldn't recognise from the day one when I walked in. Second of all, building me is just my characteristics and just as a person. Third, hope to get into some form of employment at the end. Lastly, just building the great friendships and communities. Building a great community around me.
Our ongoing support from Saint-Gobain is crucial for us as an organisation. So they not only provide essential funding that we need, they also provide us with the top high quality materials, industry leading trainings through British Gypsum Masterclass, as well as the connections within the Saint-Gobain network to help enhance our programme and bring more to what we can provide and support for young people.
It's a wonderful thing that Youth Build UK is doing, and as we've seen, it's already making a huge difference to young people's lives across the country, whether that's developing essential skills or giving them a purpose they can be proud of and believe in. Good luck to everyone involved, and we're looking forward to celebrating more successes in the future. Now, whether you're learning the craft to start a new career or tackling a DIY project at home, mastering plastering can seem daunting, but don't worry, we've got you covered with our next segment. Get ready to enhance your skills and achieve that perfect finish as we bring you the top 5 plastering tips that every plasterer, novice or expert should know. Let's dive right in and discover the secrets to smooth, flawless walls.
Hi, my name's Charlotte Robinson. I'm an Interior Solutions trainer here at British Gypsum, and today I'm going to go through some top tips on skimming. Okay, so first things first is we're going to get our prep work done. What you'd want to do is put some fibre tape or scrim tape on your joints for joint and crack reinforcement. So we have FT50 for your flat joints and FT100 for your internal angles and for your ceilings as well. It's also a good thing to notice at this time that your screws are finished flush and driven into the boards, that they're not proud, just in case you catch a trowel on them, and that there are no gaps bigger than 3mm in any of your boarding. If there are any gaps bigger than 3mm, we'd recommend that you replace the board completely. So now I'll show you the process of how to actually mix up the plaster. If you follow the manufacturer's guidelines on the back of the bag, it will tell you everything you need to know. So you have 120 minutes finishing time with this product. It'll explain the coverage that you have. So you have about 10 metres squared with it, 25 kilo bag, and it'll also explain how much water to use as well. You also want to make sure that you're using clean, fresh water, not contaminated with anything, as this may affect your finish. Top tip as well, please make sure that you use PPE where required. At the moment, I will be putting on my mask for mixing it, and I've got my gloves and my goggles on as well. Any wet plaster in the eye could mean an eye wash or a trip to the hospital. So this is now at the consistency I want it to be. I know this because when I put my bucket trowel into the mix, it's firm enough that it holds itself slightly. Today I'm using a spot board to put my plaster on now that I've mixed it. There are a few benefits of using this over leaving your mix in a bucket. One, it's just easier to apply, to get it off your spot board, onto your hawk, onto your trowel, and then onto the wall. But also because it won't go off as quickly because the air is getting to it. If you leave it in the bucket, it will get hot quicker and it will go off on you quicker. Before I put the plaster onto my spot board, however, I will just wet it lightly with a brush, just because plaster's a wet material, it will slide off a wet material better. If I don't wet this first and I put the plaster straight onto it, it will probably get stuck because of the suction. So I'll just start wetting it now. I don't have to go crazy. Okay, so now that the mix is on my spot board, I now need to get it onto my hawk. But first, best top tip would be to just wet your hawk with a bit of material, just like we wet the spot board. It just helps you to get the plaster off your tools quicker and easier. So just get a little bit of plaster. And it just ultimately helps with the suction. So top tip when you come to take your plaster off your spot board is it helps if you take it from the same place every time, and also to really dig your trowel in when you're scraping it off. So what I mean is dig your trowel in and just plop it straight onto your hawk. So it's nice and clean, there's nothing I've left behind. If I don't do that, and I just spread this on top, I end up with plaster left behind that could potentially start to dry, and then you'll end up with dry plaster in your mix that you could essentially spread onto your wall. Also, once it's on the hawk, if you give your hand a shake and just make it into a bit of a pancake, it will just help to stop it from sliding off so easily. So now that I've got my scrim tape on and I've done my sealing, I'm ready to flush my joints out first. So this is the first thing you'll do, and then you can continue to finish the rest of the wall in. So now that I've put my second coat on, I'm just going over with my trowel just to flatten it. If you need to use a wet brush, that's absolutely fine, but we'd recommend that you wet your trowel rather than wet the wall, just because you don't want too much water on the wall. There will still be lines at this point, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to go over it 3 times essentially, twice with a wet brush, and then I'll go over with a cross trowel with a flexi trowel. So when I'm troweling up, I am putting quite a bit of pressure through my wrist onto my trowel. If you don't, you can run the risk of snagging your trowel on your plaster and tearing it, or get kind of ripples and tiger stripes. So you want to make sure that there is a fair bit of pressure on your trowel that you're pressing the plaster into the wall now. So before skimming my next wall, I just want to make sure that all of my corners and edges are really neat and tidy. And in order to do that, I'm just going to use this angled brush again. I'll brush down the sides of the wall and just pull in any extra bits of plaster, but I can also scrape off the excess on this back wall just before I plaster this one to make sure it's neat and tidy. So for my final trowel, I'm going to swap my trowel over to a flexi trowel, which is plastic, so it allows for that flex. And I'm just going to cross over horizontally on the wall. This will eliminate any lines that you've left as you're putting the plaster on. So with the wet brush again,
And there you have it, our top 5 plastering tips to help you achieve professional results in your next project. We hope you find these tips useful and make you feel more confident in your plastering abilities. As we come to the end of this show, we want to thank you for joining us, and don't forget to tune in to Building Better, where we continue our mission to provide you with the best tips, techniques and tools for all your building and renovation needs. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Building Better has something for everyone. Goodbye.